Well, Canada is ready to imprison anyone who's ever posted hate speech online, thanks to Justin Trudeau's Orwellian new law, the Online Harms Bill C-63. But according to Revolver News, the real gotcha in this bill is the alarming retroactive piece of this legislation, something we haven't talked about. Essentially, whatever you've said in the past can now be weaponized against you right now in the present. Even if it was 5-10 years ago, it doesn't matter. Elon Musk tweeted this. This sounds insane if accurate. Community notes, please check it out. Anyway, Ottawa's own independent journalist, David KRAYDEN, joins us now. David, you've written more on this harms bill than just about anyone I know. So welcome back to the show, David. Good to see you.
Nice to be back, Clayton. You know, I call this bill, the Online Harms Act, I call this the bill that keeps on giving, or maybe that should be taking, because the more you look at this bill, the more you discover there's unseen, unnoticed portions of it. In this latest episode here, we all miss this. I must say, I have not noticed this. And here we are, Elon Musk is noticing that all of this information, and myself, I've been producing material for 25 years or more. Now, most of this is still online. And because all of these media outlets I work for keep it archived and they keep it online. I can find material I wrote for the Daily Caller 8 years ago is still online. Stuff I wrote for other media outlets. Now, is any of this going to be deemed or assessed as hate speech? Well, it certainly wasn't at the time.
Right.
And I always bent over backwards to be careful about the words I used. However, we live in a crazy age where anything can be construed as hate speech. And under this law, it's clear that's going to happen. So is this going to have a chilling effect on people? Are they going to suddenly look into their archives and is there anything I can delete? This is totally nonsensical, Clayton. This is a monstrous dragnet is how I would describe this. People are going to be forced to go over their material and say, did I say something wrong 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Is it going to be subject to assessment by this hate speech tribunal, by this online censorship czar that the Online Harms Act creates? Do I need to worry about this? Am I going to be so worried about this I won't be able to produce material today?
Right.
Am I going to be worried about it?
That's a great point, right? It's a tapping of resources. So, and I imagine that the people that they will start to look at most vehemently are the people that they deem to be extremists, like the trucker convoy people or the opposition party, the people that would support a Pierre Poilievre, or those individuals in Canada. Those are the people they would start to go back and start to look through their information on this. So I should point out, Elon Musk asked for community notes on this, and he got them. Here it is. Readers added context. Part 3 of Bill C-63, which is still at first reading stage, is not yet law. Of course, we know that. It adds to the Canadian Human Rights Act, quote, a person communicates or causes to be communicated hate speech so long as the hate speech remains public and the person can remove or block access to it. So in other words, the way that I'm reading that is, David, you have an opportunity to go through and clean stuff up. And if you do that, you'll be okay. If you go back and you're going to spend 70 days going through all of your archives, you're not going to produce anything new for the next 70 days, the next 100 days. You're going to go through all of your past writings. You're going to see if you've said anything that the Trudeau government could deem as hate, and you can remove it. If you can't remove it, then it's there, and what can they do to you? We don't know. It's still kind of a nebulous, answer here, right?
Well, exactly. And where do I begin and where do I end? But that's the point of all this. It's to make people so obsessed with the words they use, not only today, but 10 or 15 years ago, that they're not going to have the ability to produce material today. And they're going to be completely stymied. This is the objective of this bill, is to stop people from writing and from thinking. And we've been so focused on the thought crimes component of this bill. That's been the most marketable in terms of the opposition to this. When I talk about this bill, I get glassy-eyed people sometimes because they're saying, this can't be real. When I say, did you know there's a thought crimes component? Oh, that's interesting. Sounds like George Orwell. Sounds like 1984. That's what people have been talking about. And I think that's what Trudeau really wants, is we're going to focus on that, and we're going to miss a lot of the other material that's in this bill. Did you know, for instance, Clayton, and I think Elon Musk should know this, there's an 8% extortion fee connected to this bill, which is something I uncovered early. I've talked about this before, but I don't think Elon Musk is aware of this. And what do I mean by an 8% extortion fee? There's a stipulation in this bill that if social media companies carry material that is deemed to be hateful, that is deemed to be hate speech, and it's not taken down immediately, or it's not taken down with the to the same degree that the government deems necessary to do so, they will be subject to an 8% extortion fee. They're not calling it extortion. I'm calling it extortion. So the government of Canada will take 8% of their gross revenues, up to $25 million. So they're going to be fining Facebook, fining X, up to $25 million for having hate speech on their media outlet, on their social media platform. Now, if I was a social media company, I'd say, why in heck would I want to have any business with Canada when I am subject to this kind of rule? This is extortion. So this is, again, as with other censorship laws from Justin Trudeau, this is about getting social media platforms silenced and not even existing in Canada. They're going to withdraw from Canada because they don't need this. They don't need these financial encumbrances, these legal encumbrances. Do they really want to start hiring lawyers to fight Justin Trudeau? Do they really want to consider $25 million fines? Is Canada worth it? Is the audience there worth it? They're going to say no. And that's what Justin Trudeau wants. He has said repeatedly he wants to live in a Canada where we just had the old style media, the CBC, the CTV, and Global News, and a couple of national newspapers. None of this social media stuff. None of this independent media like Redacted is doing and that I am doing and other people are doing. Let's get back to those simple times where we just had the three basic Canadian networks and some national newspapers. And we didn't have to worry about social media. That's his plan here, Clayton. I believe that firmly. That's what's behind this.
And we're already seeing it. We know just from our audience here, we have a pretty large Canadian audience. I'll ask you guys watching right now, try to share this show. Click right now and click share and try to share it on Facebook. Many of you will find out that you're unable to share it on Facebook. They will block it. You're not able to in Canada. You might be able to still in the United States, but in Canada, many Canadian viewers will tell us they cannot share the show with their audience on their social media platforms because it's blocked. So pretty soon, yeah, you're going to see a removal of YouTube in Canada. You'll see a removal of Facebook. Not that that's a bad thing. Maybe I'm getting rid of Facebook altogether. But, Facebook in Canada, TikTok in Canada, anything else that's not government run, government sanctioned is about to be removed. I firmly believe that. I think you're 100% true on that. How far along is this bill? When are we going to see the next reading of this? And what stage do you think we are in right now before this thing becomes law?
Well, typically there's from 2 to 3 months between readings. The first reading was a month ago. We're probably a month away. If we're lucky, we'll have a summer recess at the House of Commons, which usually occurs in the third week of June. So we might be able to miss the second reading before the House recesses for the summer, which would be good because technically it's possible for this bill to pass before October 2025 when the next federal election is scheduled. However, we need to have more opposition behind this bill, and we need a summer where people have a chance to understand what is behind this, where Elon Musk understands, as the bill says, if you're found guilty of an offense of hate speech, we are taking 8% of your gross revenue if you're found guilty of that. Now, where's Pierre Poilievre on this bill? He's spoken about this once, very cleverly. Yes, he talked about how Trudeau looks at 1984 not as a warning, but a plan. That was good. but he's not mentioning this in the House of Commons every day in question period. It's all about stolen cars, and it's all about the drug opioid crisis in BC. Nothing about the free speech crisis that's going on in Canada right now. We could lose our free speech for good in this country, and we need a stronger opposition response to this, and we need journalists, not just the independent ones and the new ones, such as you and I, but we need legacy reporters and journalists and columnists to wake up to this. This is aimed at them too. They will be silenced. They will be subject to persecution. They will be subject to judicial review. They will be subject to legal action and potentially jail time. What does it take for this message to sink in? I don't know. I have been broadcasting and writing about this now for 6 to 7 weeks, and I'm not seeing the response we need from the official opposition and from the media in this country. And I'm very concerned about that, Clayton.
Well, this post by Elon just got about over 50 million views. So hopefully, maybe there's some awareness creeping in here. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because I think this is, hopefully this could be a tipping point moment. Yeah, maybe a sea change moment in Canada. David Kraydon, great to have you on, being able to express your opinions and speak freely for the time being up there in Canada. Hopefully that will continue through the summer. We hope that that's the case till Canada turns into North Korea. David, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Clay.
All right. Thanks so much, David. So we will watch this voting and this discussion at the next reading of this bill in Canada.
Thank you for watching this episode of Stand on Guard and being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right channel. If you've watched this episode to this point, you've watched it all. And that's really important for a small station like this. We always say subscribe, hit the bell, be a part of the KRAYDEN resistance. Resolve to resist. That's what we're doing. And if you become a subscriber, if you're a supporter of this station or a member through Substack, through YouTube, and now you can be a local as well, that's so important to us, because I couldn't do this without you. I made a decision to become an independent journalist about a year ago because I wanted to bring all of my experience in the military, in journalism, to you. I don't promise anything I can't deliver. I don't offer clickbait. I offer truth. The truth is out there, and it's my job to bring that truth to light and to you. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right resistance, and we'll see you again soon. So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.